Hello, I can see lots of people joining. We'll just wait a few minutes. Sorry, it's just a couple of minutes past 2:00, so sorry I'm a little bit late on here. Just still trying to... Hi, hello from Ampthill. The Abbotts and the Knowlings, hello, hi. Put me a little message and say hi. Woodheads, hello. Great, thank you for watching. Hi, hello. It's lovely to see you all here. Hi Liz, hello. Colin too, hello. Brilliant. Hope you're all good. I'm just going to wait a couple more minutes. Hello, hi. From Evie. Hello Tiana's. Romans, hello. Hi Skidmores. The Vistas, hello. There's loads of you. Hi. Oh, Iona, hello. Lovely that you're here. Oh, gosh, old colleagues. Oh, lovely. Hello. Hi. I'm going to get on. But thank you all for joining me. It's lovely to have you here. So this is my second week of doing these lives. They are just very, very light-hearted, a little bit of an introduction to photography, nothing too major, nothing too taxing. And I have been asked whether I'd do some training on... I'm excited for you to be here as well, Sophie, thank you. SLR cameras, but at the moment I want to keep it quite basic so that it's accessible to everybody at the moment. And my plan for today is to not really be too long. Hi Eva. Maybe just about 20 minutes, and today I'm just mainly going to be talking to you. Next week we might change that a little bit, and then I'll do sort of more demonstrations, but working back from last week we just wanted to introduce getting the kids, getting parents, getting grandparents, anybody, just to pick up a camera and start using it, and having some fun with it, and sort of no pressure at all. But just my idea was this: we're all sort of struggling. We're trying to homeschool our kids, which is completely new territory to the majority of us. Plus we're trying to, a lot of us work from home, a lot of us have got our own businesses too, so we're really having to rejig those and think about different ways of working and all adapting. And I just thought this was something that I could offer for kids and parents and grandparents and whoever wants to go out and do some photographs. And thank you so much for those that sent me messages last week, and your pictures were absolutely fantastic. It made me so happy to see you going out there and getting creative, and they were really, really good. They were really brilliant. And so the idea is I'm still trying to set up this Facebook page, and I want it to be a private page, so that just, you know, us, we can look at it, but people can share their photographs. And sort of as time goes on over the next couple of weeks, I want people to send in their photographs that they've been taking. And then we're maybe going to judge them at the end, and I'm going to let you choose a winner. And the winner will get a family shoot from me. But anyway, that's by the by. What is important is getting you guys out there and learning new skills. So last week we had the sun was out, so we were talking a lot about different things like shadows, and we talked about maybe if you wanted to shoot towards the light, that you would get more of a silhouette. So if you just turned your subject, if it's your portrait or your still life towards the light, you are going to get a lot more detail in. You will also be thinking about moving yourself and moving your object around, just so that you're not getting really deep shadows. Hi, the Harrisons as well. And also we were talking a little bit about composition, and we were also talking about moving ourselves and not just taking a photograph Oh, that's brilliant. Well done, Tilly. Not just taking a photograph just straight on. We were thinking about getting a lot higher up, getting low down to the ground, and just working on just pushing yourself just to a little bit of a different way of photographing things that you normally do. So it's quite chilly outside at the moment, and it's quite grey. It's quite a flat light, so you would get very, very different photographs that you did last week. So it might even be worth going outside if you took photographs outside last week, and then go and taking them of the same thing and looking at the difference you've got from the two different sets of lights that you got. But this week I want you to start thinking about framing. So when we take a photograph, we often put it in a frame. So I want you to maybe start thinking about the composition and framing. So if you are going to take a portrait of your family or maybe your pet, think about the framing of your image. So it could be you have your subject in a door. You could be down on the ground and you have in your lounge, you've got a little table with the legs. You could photograph it through that and use that as a framing idea. You could think about a window, so you could ask your subject to go outside and you could shoot through the window. In our house, we've got like little sort of dividers on the windows, on the panes. So some people might even have little cottages, so they could think about shooting, hello Millers as well, shooting through those panes, so that you can use that as sort of a framing device. Also think about the banisters in your house. You could photograph through that. You could incorporate the banisters into your photograph. So just start thinking about different ways of bringing your subject matter together. It doesn't have to be your pet. It doesn't have to be a family member. You could do this with a still life. You could do a little bit of an art project as well. So you could go and make your own frame and cut it out and use that to photograph through it. So again, we were talking about last week, we're all doing a lot more cooking, a lot more baking and things like that. What about if you have baked a beautiful cake or some scones or a nice meal? You could think about the way of framing that picture. It might be you make your homemade frame. It might be the way that you shoot it in your kitchen. Just think about taking it to different places and utilising objects. It might not need to be a door or a window. It might be, I don't know, if you've done a meal, using a pepper pot to sort of frame it and bring it in, something like that. I just want you to go out there and get creative and spend some time on things. And really, it's your interpretation of what you want to do. So go out there and have fun doing your frames. So also on your mobile phone, we can talk about, there's a grid system too. So I've just done a little picture on here. I don't know whether you can see it. I've just printed it out. So we've got a mobile phone screen here, and there's lots of grid lines. So some of you might already have this set up on your phones, but this is a really good way of working on your composition. So I've taken down a few notes here how to set it up if you don't know. And actually I've jumped ahead on my notes, but never mind. So the reason I'm talking about this grid system is because I want to get a little bit technical and start to talk just a tinsy bit about a rule. It's called the rule of thirds. So we're doing a little bit of maths as well, so you can tell your mum and dad you're doing some maths too, as well as art. So it is also, photography rules can be broken, so you can just use this a little bit to guide you through taking some photographs. So the idea of the thirds is so that you have got it broken in to thirds, vertically and horizontally. I've done it the right way. So it then comes out as 9 parts. And also, some of you might have Instagram. I want you to think about their grid system. They've got 9. So they are actually working in the rule of thirds. Have I got that right, Lawrence? I know there's another photographer here. So it's just thinking of different ways and thinking about little theories behind the way that you set up your composition. So if you want to start thinking about that, maybe when you're photographing your still lifes, maybe when you're photographing people, just bring that little bit in. So if you want to go in on your iPhone, you can go to settings and then you choose your photo and camera option. Then you go to switch on grids. So then when you're taking a photograph, you're going to get those grids in, which will help you line things up a little bit, especially for the younger ones. It will just help them position their iPhone cameras, or if you don't have an iPhone, if you've got a Samsung, you will need to, let me just read this so I get this right, you will need to launch your camera app and then go into settings, and then you will scroll down and switch the grid line option to on. So we were just talking about that for the new people that have joined. Don't know if you can see this picture here, but this is, it's the rule of thirds. So we've broken up the lens, well, the screen of your camera into 9. So it will help you when you're lining up images. And then I'm going to move on to talk about negative space. So when you're composing a picture, we talked about last week that we wanted to make sure we get everything in. So we didn't want to chop off heads, we didn't want to sort of cut you off weirdly, sort of at your elbows, or maybe at your knees, remembering to get your feet in for the whole length photograph. But also sometimes we want to crop in, so with these lines on here, that will help you control what you are taking on your camera. But also we can look at using negative space in your photographs. And this is really the little trick that I want you to maybe play with this week if you fancy doing it. So negative space can be a good thing. So I want to show you this picture as well, and I've got the grids on it. So we've got some negative space going on around here, and what I think it could be useful to do is, if you are doing an English project, or if you are doing anything on poems, you could maybe think about doing some work for Mrs. McKinnon and her team, but also think that this is an art project too. So you could photograph something, say you're doing a poem, and you do a little photograph and photograph something to do with your poem, and maybe have it in this area. Then you could start bringing in text into the rest of your picture so that you're actually thinking about your subjects and interlinking them, and then producing one piece of work. So when you are working with empty space in your photos, the subject that you have chosen is going to stand out far more. So also you could think about when we had the good weather, we had really good, lovely blue skies. And apparently at the end of the week we might get that back. So I want you to maybe think about taking a photograph to the way that we were thinking about last week, maybe different angles. So what you could be doing is lying on your back, and you could be looking up to the sky with your camera, with your phone, and you might have just a tree, and then you've got the blue sky. So basically your tree is your main focus of your picture, and then you've got the rest of the blue sky. So it's also linking into the framing too. So reversing it, your blue sky is actually framing your tree, but then it's also working with the negative space too to make the tree stand out. Plus you could think about putting some text in there. So making it into a bigger project, into an art project, into an English project or something like that. Also, I was thinking that you might want to think about it as a portrait project too. So you could get a member of your family standing up and you're lying down on the floor and you're photographing up towards them, and then they've got the sky framing them. But again, have your grids so you think about where you're going to put your subject matter. So it might be to the side here in this third, it might be in this third, it might be in this third, it might just be sort of more in the middle, it might be down towards the bottom. Just think of this area as thirds so that you are consciously thinking about the framing, the composition, your background, your subject matter, and bringing all of those elements together to create a fabulous, strong photograph. Also, last week we were talking about flowers, and maybe mums had got them for Mother's Day, and I saw some great photographs produced by Verity. She was doing some pictures outside of her mum's Mother's Day pictures, flowers. So again, she could maybe take that a different way and have it with the sky as the background, or even she was outside, so maybe she could get up higher and use the grass in the background as her framing idea. So I just want you to go away and take pictures, have fun with it. Doesn't matter if it doesn't work, nobody needs to see it, but just go out there and have a little bit of a thought of about how you're doing your composition. Think about your negative space, think about the rule of the thirds that we talked about. Pop the grids on, think about your backgrounds, think about the subject matter. Again, we are limited at the moment, we can't go out and about, but we are allowed to walk, so you could go and take some photos, but you need to be really careful that you're not staying in one place for very long. So I think it's going to be a little bit better to take your pictures at home, in your house, in your garden, in your home. Probably last week, not many of you took photographs in your home because we had nice weather. So try and think about taking them in the home. So remember, if you're going to be taking pictures of still lives, think about where the windows are, where you're going to be getting your natural light from. Some people might have skylights, so you'll be getting light sort of down on top. So think about the shadows on the faces and how that is going to be cast. Also, if you turn yourselves or your subjects round to the window, they're being lit from behind. So again, that's going to be that silhouette. So you're not going to get the detail on the face or the object. So you might want to turn yourself around. So I want you, when you're photographing, just to consider where you're standing, where your subject's being lit. It might be in a dark hallway that you're not getting much light. So in that case, you want to draw in as much light as you possibly can. So it might be that you touch your screen on your phone, and that will draw in more light too. If the subject's got quite a dark jumper like me, you might want to press on there, and that will lighten up the picture on your camera too. So I've given you loads of information today, and this will stay on my Facebook page, so you can go back and listen to it as many times as you want. I'm going to set myself some homework and try and get this Facebook page set up so that we can start sharing photographs together and talking about them and seeing what everybody else is doing. But if you don't want to share your photos, that is not a problem too. Just go out and have some fun and enjoy photography. It's a nice way to go and spend a couple of hours now. So if your mum and dad are trying to do work from home, go off with the camera, go off with your phone and do some photographs. And then next week I'll come up with a plan, and then we can talk through some different ideas. And then as the weeks go on, if I find that people are wanting to know a little bit more technical stuff, I will try and bring that in. But at the same time, I want to keep it quite accessible for everybody, so that everybody can go out and do it. Everybody can go and have sort of half an hour, 40 minutes now, and go and have some fun and enjoy yourselves. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been brilliant, and I can't wait to see your photos. Everybody stay safe, look after each other, stay indoors, do all this work at home, in your garden, in your home. Go and get different things out, make some still lifes up. Think that you're at school, you're doing a still life project that you would maybe normally paint at school, but instead you're going to be using the camera instead of a paintbrush. Oh, you're welcome, thank you for coming. But just have fun. Oh, you're welcome, thank you so much for being here. It's really good to see everybody. Enjoy yourselves, and thanks so much for joining me, and I'll hopefully do another one next week. You're welcome. Take care. Thanks. Bye.